Beaufort County Board of Education Academic Committee meeting. Today is February the 25th, 2025. It's about
Recording in progress.
It's about 5 p.m. We are at the District Educational Services Center in Conference Room 3. Remote hybrid conference meeting. This meeting will be broadcast by the County Council.
On the channel.
Oh, channel. I'm sorry. To speak during academic committee public comments, please sign in using the public comment form. You can find the BOE public comment form on our website, https://www.beaufort. Beaufort Schools, BeaufortSchools.net/about us/board of ed/public comments. You will receive a phone call during the public comments where you will be able to speak and address the committee for a maximum of 3 minutes on issues within the committee's domain. The forum will be limited to 15 minutes. Citizens desiring to participate in person must fill out a public comment card that can be obtained from the board clerk upon arrival.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's stand for a moment of silence. We may be seated. Do we have any public comment?
Need a motion to approve the agenda.
Oh. I need a motion to approve the agenda. If there's a motion.
Ms. Liz online, she is your only committee chair at the moment. Mr. Carr is not on, Dr. Carr is not on yet.
Okay. Ms. Liz? Leah?
You are muted, Ms. Frazier. You put in the chat, see if she can answer.
There we go. There we go.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I second. I'm on this phone.
Ms. Frazier, can
Can
I
you guys
get
hear
you
me?
to?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. We need you to approve the committee minutes for October.
First we need the approval of the agenda, and you'll have the second because we don't have Dr. Carr on.
We need to approve the agenda for today.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. You would make a motion to approve the agenda?
Okay, I motion to approve the agenda.
A second. Thank you.
Call for the vote.
Call for the vote. All the present say aye.
Just you, Ms. Lee.
Oh, Ms. Frazier, right? Ms. Frazier and I.
Aye.
Aye. No public comment?
We have no public comments.
Okay, we have no public comments at this time. Ms. Frazier,
Motion to approve the minutes.
I need you to move to a motion to approve the minutes for October 30th and November 20th of 2024.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the minutes.
And I
Oc-
second both.
All right, we can go to the administrative regulations.
Dr. Stratus and her team, awesome team here.
Well, thank you.
And we have, the board chair who's here, Mr. Clyde. Glad to see you. Is that- Okay, that's not anyone trying to come in.
No.
Okay.
So,
So, we have IS what, 40?
so, Madam Chair, this evening we have Ms. McKinsey, who we're familiar, she's our Director of Secondary, who will be bringing forward two of the administrative regulations for instructional services, which is IS 42, IS 48. And this evening as well, we have our Deputy Superintendent, Dr. Lee, as well as our Officer of Student Services, Dr. White, and Andrea Murray, who are here on SS, Student Services Administrative Regulation 62. And it is my understanding that that is a new administrative regulation. Hence, you will not see a red line copy within your folders or within diligence. All right, you will see the original administrative regulation as they worked hard at putting one together. And then the final item that we will have presented is the honors course application for dance course at Hilton Head Island High School. So with that, I'd like to turn the floor over to Ms. McKinsey, and I believe you should have executive summaries for the administrative regulations as part of your handouts.
For IS 42, you should have the executive summary. I apologize for the printing on that item if yours is moved over. You should also have the red line copy and the final copy if you to find those in your folder.
Thank you.
Regularly, as part of our process here in Beaufort County School District, we regularly review our administrative regulations to ensure that they follow the policies, the laws, and regulations. Additionally, it's important that we do that so that we have consistency across our district, and it helps us to improve communication with the communities that we serve. So both of these are short tonight, so I'm just going to say that at the beginning, so that makes it very nice. IS 42 is conducting research. So there are very minimal charges here, but it is important that we have changes for our community members. First and foremost, we are adding the non-discrimination clause to all of our administrative regulations. So we went ahead and have that added here. That would be in section 2 of the administrative regulation. And the only real change here is IS 42E. That is the application when someone applies to do research within our school district. Currently, it is set that the point of contact for Beaufort County School District is Lana Simmons, and that has changed. She's transitioned over to another position. So that contact is now Denise Hook. That is the only change to the administrative regulation.
Did you say cook?
Hook,
Like Robin,
Captain Hook.
she'll hook you.
We do want to make sure that is updated on our website so that people can reach out to the correct person and not be waiting for responses from Beaufort County.
So you won't see those names specifically within the administrative regulation, but that information is available on our website regarding who to turn to for the application.
And I did, Dr. Stratus, include a copy of the application with the updated name of our board.
Thank you.
There should be.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And just for your edification, if it's someone seeking a higher level degree, I do require an IRB review unless the university does, and that's an internal review board. Unless the university doesn't require that, then I do have the chair of that department actually provide a letter and state that. So I just don't take research very lightly. I make them go through what you would have to do at a university. And if an application is handwritten, it goes back. I'm one of those. It is doctorate work, master's level work. It should be at a certain level and without spelling errors. I mean, it's vastly improved over the years, and I'm very proud of our teachers. I have to say that. Vastly improved of what they turn in now.
Absolutely. We can move on to IS 48 if you like. This one is promotion, retention, and acceleration of our students. Again, there are minimal changes here, but they are necessary for our community to have appropriate information out to our communities. Section 2, we're going to go ahead and add that non-discrimination clause in while we have it in front of you already. And then in section 4, we have one clause in there that the state has made a change, and we want to make sure we update our materials to be consistent with the state language. Previously, it said, and provided the student successfully completed the state exit exam. South Carolina has removed the state exit exam from their requirements, so we want to make sure we remove it from here as well. And you'll notice that on the red line copy, that is written out in red, and then in the final copy, it is blacked out. Minimal changes, I told you. Nice, wasn't it?
I do have a question.
Sir.
In terms of this is an OE or AR.
They are.
Yes, this is
Administrative regulation. We're lucky we don't come back up with our OE till the summer, so yes. Thank you.
And she just went over IS 48. She's went over this right here.
Yes, sir. IS 48, there were only two changes, adding that non-discrimination clause and removing that sentence that students now have to take an exit exam. South Carolina no longer requires that.
Right, but I would love it to be a quick one, but just in terms of if you could help me digest this real quick.
Yes, sir.
So this right here is the executive summary, but everything in here is what takes place up under this area, right?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So you will have two ARs for each one for student for instructional services. One that is the final copy, and then the other one will have the red, which is a highlighted, and it should relate with your executive summary, Mr. Smith. So what you see red on the AR, you should see that identified in the executive summary, and I apologize, Ms.
No, ma'am, you're correct.
And with the one exception, you'll have a copy of an administrative regulation that's going to come up now with student services. It's brand new. You will not have anything redlined because it's a brand new AR. So it's only going to be in black ink.
And my only point of bringing it out is that just if I just logged on and I don't have this information in front of me and I want to know a question, then I think it's just for precise basically for information purposes that we tell what all is covered as in these titles, so that people can know where to go at and what to look and what this fall under, versus just giving these the main.
Put it up there so that you can see it. I just hadn't moved it over yet, but I was moving it over so that they could see what it is.
Okay, so we get to see IS 48 and school-based behavior threat assessment
We
management.
haven't gotten there yet.
Okay,
So we're at 48, so right where we are.
right, but it's now under this one right here. I just had all of this in my hands. That's why that's why I asked that question. So I said all this under that same packet. That's why I asked that question, because I didn't hear any of that.
Yep.
Okay.
So that-
Okay. All right. Thank you for clarification.
So with that, Madam Chair, may I turn the floor over to Student Services Team? We have Dr. Lee, Officer, Dr. White, and Andrea Murray. Yes, ma'am.
This is Administrative Regulation SS 62, and it deals specifically with school-based uh, behavioral threat assessment and management, also known as BTAM, throughout the document. And the purpose was to establish the expectation for the procedure, how it is conducted. We also have the non-discrimination clause as well. The criteria for threat assessment when a concern arises about a student being engaged in himself or others. It establishes the protocol for conducting the assessment. It may include and goes on to include interviews with students, staff, a review of educational records, consultation with school-based mental health professionals. And for the purposes of this administrative regulation, school-based mental health professionals specifically deals with school social workers, school counselors, and school psychologists. Local law enforcement, student resource officers may be involved, and at times there are possibly other community agencies that also help support our students that may be involved throughout the process. This it outlines the if the district determines an articulable threat and significant threat to the health or safety of students or others exist, that personally identifiable information, PII, from educational records to school officials whose knowledge of the information is necessary to protect the health or safety of the students. Section 4 deals with the report of a threat or a pattern of concerning behavior. When a report is received, the student displays a pattern of concerning behavior, the core team of at least 2 members. Those 2 members must consist of an administrator and one of our school-based mental health professionals, which again, for the intents and purposes of this regulation, school social workers, school counselors, or school psychologists will gather preliminary information. If a potentially imminent threat exists, be that with a weapon or another threat with specificity and intent, the core team will notify the school resource officer, call 911, and take protective action. Once the situation is stable, the core team shall complete a full protocol assessment. A threat screener in those situations, they do not require an immediate referral to law enforcement. The core team shall complete the threat assessment screener. And if following the completion of the screener, they determine a possible intent to harm does not exist, then the team documents their decisions and actions, and the case will be closed. If the screener indicates possible intent to harm, or the core team cannot come to a consensus decision, then a full protocol threat assessment is conducted. Section 6, full protocol threat assessment shall be comprised of at least 3 members, which must include administrator, your school mental health professionals being school social workers, school counselors, school psychologists, behavior management specialists, school nurses, and the SRO. And the team shall gather, organize, and analyze additional information using the behavior threat assessment and management full protocol. The team shall make the assessment decisions, determine the level of control to determine whether the student is a harm to others and what supports need to be provided for that student. If the full protocol threat assessment team determines the student's level of concern to be moderate or high, the full protocol threat assessment team members shall develop and implement a management plan for the student to contain intervention, supervision, and monitoring according to the level of concern. If it is determined to be a low-level threat, but the student needs support, the full protocol threat assessment team They develop and for the student. If the team determines the student does not meet any level of concern and does not need support, the team shall close the case. Section 7, implement the management plan. The management plan shall be implemented and monitored by the team, and team member roles and responsibilities shall be assigned by the team lead. And Section 8, mandatory annual threat assessment training. All schools, school principals, assistant principals, school counselors, school social workers, school psychologists, behavior management specialists, school resource officers, and any other school threat assessment team members must complete annual threat assessment training.
Ms. Frazier, do you have, any questions?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Classic Court is on as well.
Okay. Mr. Gordon, did you hear that?
I did.
Okay, do you
No
have any
question.
questions?
No questions. Thank you.
Mr. Tyler?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Could you, number 4, B, once the situation is stable, please describe stable to me.
Stable can look several different ways, depending on what is going on that caused the threat assessment to occur. Stable is when everyone is safe, when the threat has been, what we do when we talk about training, when I do the training, you want to break the continuum. You don't want it to ever reach implementation. You actually want to stop it at ideation. So we're trying to break that continuum, ensure that everyone is safe in the building, depending on what type of threat is made. That may consist of 2 members of the team remaining with the student, calling for sending another member of the team to maybe get other members. You may need to get the SRO involved. You may need to get the school nurse involved, depending on what is going on. So it actually depends on what occurred that led to the threat assessment. But the main thing is that safety is priority.
Do you think that just having the word stable gives enough guidance to the people as to what's expected? Is there restraint? Are they calm down? Are they sitting down? I mean, it's stable is a very broad word. And this is something that it was going out to all the schools and the people to work this. And so I just seems to me there should possibly be, just as a suggestion, more of a description of what constitutes stable. I mean, that's just for a suggestion, Madam Chair.
Good question. Thank you. Mrs. Smith?
I would just pick up back there. Well, my question was, I just saw something along this line of crisis teams on the news about something they had in one of the schools. And my question was to be how regularly do y'all train in terms of, and what does that look like?
It is an all-day training, minimum of 6.5 hours. I have trainings were conducted June, 2 in June, 1 in August, September, October, January, and I have one tomorrow.
Okay, and then that's everybody who's on
Everyone, all the team members that are a part of this. And there have been some other staff that have come in as well who want to take it as well.
Okay, so okay, well, I guess I can, and I just because someone slipped up just on one of the interviews said we go over this every couple of years.
Annually.
Yeah, I did not. I think you can see the reaction of the person who's interviewing her. She was kind of shocked. She didn't know to go next for whatever. The person who was interviewing her, she didn't know where to go next for her questions. But I'm sure I knew that we do at least not know every couple of years, but when I saw that just now, it just made me think about that interview I'm on watch. But to even to even to the last question that was asked, I guess y'all would kind of discuss what what's stable would kind of look like in y'all training. So I mean, because I'm sure this is not something that you see in every that it's not something that you see every day that's common in schools.
No.
What about adults? How would it work if this happened with an adult? Would this same team handle it in terms of staff, or what would that look like?
It would be the same.
Yes, if there was a threat, regardless of what it is, we wouldn't go through the threat assessment with an adult. We would notify, 911 and deal with it that way. As with dealing with stable, the reason why I think it says stable is because what that looks like at an elementary level might be different than what it looks like at a high school level. And then just depending on the circumstances. So I think using administration and then this team to determine everyone's safe, everything's calmed down, things are stable enough, now we can deal with providing the student with the threat assessment is likely why it was stated that way. But if it was a staff member, we wouldn't do this threat assessment with them. We would leave that up to medical professionals for our employees or for whatever staff member we're dealing with.
So then I'll play devil's advocate real quick. This is my last question, Madam Chair. Just kind of ask along the same lines. So if we would turn the adult over in terms of letting the medicals handle that, why would we not do that with the student? Because it seems like with us doing it with us doing the assessment, and we're taking upon possibly we're putting staff at harm's way and possibly taking on some liability that some to me as a board member as a liability. So that's to me that's a kind of gray area. That's a concern right there. Let's put that out there.
So I think part of that, Andrew, if it is such that they can have to do it, the 911 or law enforcement, the threat assessment will not necessarily happen at that moment because the kid is not available. Is that correct, Ms. Murray? Yeah.
Thank you.
And it is in line with the Department of Education's best practice policy.
Thank you. That clears it up.
Yes.
Thank you.
Agree that the stable probably needs to stay just like it is,
Mhm.
but the way you handle it is in the training.
Yes.
Role playing
Mhm.
would occur at each school, because each school is different. And so as long as, there are some role playing in that training, so that stable is.
That's exactly what we do. We go through an actual case study with several different steps. It takes several turns, and we try to can't cover everything that may happen, but it is a very thorough case study, and it usually takes the afternoon. It's a couple hours worth of work to do the training. Wow.
I have a question. When we're talking about the student that has been identified, who needs to have this threat assessment, how long is that student out of school? Because if you have a child that's being assessed, they can't possibly be in a school setting. So do we have the number of days that these kids are out of school while they're being assessed? How long is it for them to be assessed? Or we're just going, 2 days a day or?
It's hard to give a specific answer because it depends on the situation, the level of threat, the type of threat, and who all's involved. For example, if we have a student that is already in services with Coastal Environmental Health, I get in touch with them directly and we try to either get their mobile crisis unit to come out, or we try to get that kid in that day. Our goal is to get them assessed, get them the support they need, and determine if they're able to return to the building. But our goal is to get them back when they've been assessed, everything has gone through, and we've got all of the supports in place for that student, because when they come back in the building, we have to have those supports in place to help that student be successful following that incident.
So how do we have the parents involved?
Parents have to be involved. There is a whole process with the form, and part of the form is you have to document that the parent was contacted. If And when it's a full protocol assessment, there's a whole page that must be gone over with to get, when we talked about implementation of the plan, all of that is gone over with the parent at that time when we're going through that documentation.
Pastor Gordon asked, who actually gives the training?
I do.
That's Miss Murray.
I was trained by the Department of Education, so I'm a certified trainer.
Are
Okay,
you
thank you.
Trainer in the school district?
Yes, ma'am.
Don't get sick. You have to do it from the bed. Zoom her. Zoom her. Thank you for
Madam
that.
Chair, may I ask a question to Andrea? Andrea, South Carolina doesn't do Baker Acts. No.
What's that? You know about this?
So with a Baker Act, you don't need the parent. Here, South Carolina ensures that the parent is involved. Right, that the police can take and make a decision on the medical practitioner immediately if the child is in imminent danger of himself or imminent of others. South Carolina doesn't have, so you have to have that contact back to guardian or parent, which is actually a good process because it puts one more thing in place in case you know something about your child that the school may not have known that happened earlier, that some trauma that morning. So.
Any more questions from any of the board members or? Okay, so we can, thank you, Ms. Murray. Appreciate it. Glad to know that this is in place. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So with that, I will turn the floor back to Ms. McKenzie. She has an honors course application, which must be approved by the board. We recognize that the syllabus and information remains with the school district for auditing purposes. This is by request, the Hilton Head Island High School, and it is for dance class honors. Ma'am?
Yes, it is. And in 2018, the state realized that there were going to be a need as our students continue to perform in different areas that we would need honors level coursework. The requirement is district due diligence and review applications, which we've had occasion to do with this one. And then we bring it forward to the board. What are the things that are included within that application? The state requires 3 areas: course content, materials and methods, and assessment. So I provided an executive summary for you that those things have been met, and I'll walk you through how those have been met. Courses have to be aligned to the South Carolina Visual and Performing Arts standards here in South Carolina, but it has to go one step further. It doesn't just meet those requirements, but it has to have an added level of rigor and complexity. So this we have seen in this application. Students within Hilton Head, they have decided to develop a portfolio, and they're using a myriad of topics within that. I mean, a great number of topics, pages of them. But I did like the idea that they had 2 areas that must be included in all student portfolios that directly relate back to the South Carolina portfolio of a graduate, profile of a graduate. So that world-class knowledge, world-class skills, life and career characteristics. That was really crucial for us. The next is they put forward a complete course syllabus for every course that they're putting forward. Those have to show pacing. It has to show the scope and sequence of what's going to be taught and when it's going to be taught. All of that material is aligned with the state requirement that exceeds a college preparatory level. So that's what sets it on the honors level. And I'm going to explain a little bit more about that in just a second when we get down to instructional methods and materials. So this course is going to be focused on a lot of research. There are going to be project-based learning within this that's going to require the student to not only choreograph, but to be under the direction, the guidance of a true choreographer. So they will have in-depth studies of choreographers themselves. And that will all be included within that student portfolio work. The units also demonstrate the skills that the student's learning within there, and those again have to exceed a college preparatory level. So we're adding that level of rigor and complexity for that student. And I just want to say this, it's great that we need this course, because what that says is not only are our high schools doing that tremendous job of getting dance up to that level, our elementary schools are getting those kids started earlier. Our middle schools are carrying that. So we're looking at that progression across the spectrum of our students so that we can see those true skill progressions. So that is wonderful. And the PACE assessment, which is on the back side of that for you. We require here in Beaufort County that they have both formative and summative assessments, and that those are modified based on student learning. So we continue to expect our students to do better, regardless of how great they might be. We're looking at self-assessments in this course. So I'll just give you an example of that. I'm going to develop a dance. I'm going to choreograph this dance. I'm going to perform it. I'm going to watch myself back on video. My peers are going to watch me. We have a rubric. We're going to score. We're going to look at ways to improve our skills. Another thing that will be done there is performance rubrics will be in place across the board. But I love the piece of reflection. And this is where that written prompts will be provided to the student to reflect on their individual performance. What was your performance like? What could you have done better? How can you make this? How can you take it to the next level? There'll also be guest people that will come in, so guest learners, dancers, professionals within the field coming in. And these students will also get the opportunity to get out of the classroom and go out into the field and see professional dancers go into those arenas where hopefully one day they might find themselves working. So it's looking at that future aspiration of the student who is really at an above college preparatory level, but more on a level of honors work. Yeah. And like I say, this is exciting that we need this.
Okay. Ms. Frazier, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am, no questions.
Mr. Gordon, any questions?
No questions.
All right. Is anyone else on?
Yeah.
Ryan?
Chair,
Chair?
I'm not an expert at all about dance, but I just made a list of what I thought were some types of dances: ballet, square, Irish, clogging, break, hip hop, ballroom, pole, tap.
You've been busy.
We will not be doing pole dance.
Thank you. Scratch that off.
So the reason I asked that is, are there going to be a syllabi for each type of dance?
The student will determine it within their individual portfolio. So as a teacher, I'm going to say, I want a 10-minute dance. I want choreographed steps. I want this. If I'm into jazz, then I can do a jazz dance. If I'm into ballet, then I can do ballet. So it allows that student to really hone in on those skills that they're gifted in.
So an example could also be like, you're interested in Broadway dance, Bob Forsy's work. So you do the research work on Bob Forsy, show the movements that he's known for, and his work is known for hands and movement. Notice the hands.
Exactly.
So,
We'd have both done great.
but that would have to be reflected. And if I could just build on it, the part of this having reflection, very much tied to the International Baccalaureate component of a self-assessment of the student. I wanted to just build on that.
100%. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I kind of went out of order, kind of, sort of. So what I'm going to do is stay out of order that I am. Let Mr. Smith, if he has the question, answer it, and then have Ms. Frazier read her question to the make a motion, okay?
Yes, my question is, I see that will this proposal, I mean, will this, OE only be, application only be for Hilton Head High School?
I'm so glad you asked that. This application was presented by Hilton Head Highland High School. But we are going to see the need of this across the board. So very soon it will be in most high schools. Once we get the honors course available to our teachers, you're going to see them want to use it.
Right, so basically, everyone will have the opportunity to use this course. That's every kid every day is my thing, so I just want to make sure this is for every kid every day.
Yes, yes, yes. The only difference will be is that individual teacher, say if I'm at Well Branch, I'm going to want to develop my own syllabi. I'm going to want to do it my way, and they'll still have these components in it, but I might want to say, we want this choreographer to come in for a study rather than this one. So each school will be able to make that their own.
Yeah, I have no problem. I just want to make sure that we're not adding too much to the menu, as I like to basically always refer back to, because I don't want to get too large to where we have a bunch of things on the menu where we're only serving half of them. So we're gonna do some cutting, and I want to make sure we do it here before we add it. Thank you. So
Absolutely. Thank
I have no more questions, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McKinney, because I know you've been working on this for quite some time. I appreciate your hard work and seeing it at Puritan or Hilton High School and possibly our other schools. Now, Ms. Frazier, if you put me back on track and read the,
Okay. I move that the Beaufort County School District Board of Education approve the courses created for dance honors levels 5 through 8 as presented on February 25th, 2025.
I second.
Can I make one correction? I'm gonna put that you're recommending from the academic committee to go forward to the full board, and that's okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fishenberry, for keeping me straight and in order. Appreciate you. Anything else on this topic? Good to go? Before we move any further, I did not introduce Miss Middleton. I'm so accustomed to seeing her with us, and it just dawned on me that she is here in a new capacity or position or whatever the word is. So Miss Angela Middleton, welcome. Thank you. And she's on our legal side of the world, right? Yes, ma'am. So be careful what you say. Here we are. Can you tell us your new position?
I'm the paralegal for the district, so I work under Wendy Cartlidge. And that's about it. They're keeping me busy.
Good.
Writing my check.
Glad to see you here. So she's not here as a board member. She's here as a official. Yes. Well, congratulations. One more. You have one.
I was just actually, I forgot to make mention of this. Just on the last topic. I was gonna say into Mrs. Gordon's to our point, she said you were working on this for a while, but I know we've been talking about the arts for a while, and we talk about that oftentimes. And over the weekend, we were at the school at the College Board Conference. We were just talking about the arts, and we were talking about the parades. And actually, this is a great entry coming from this weekend until now. And we were going back and talking about how many different school performances and different things that we see in the parade, and analyzing the parades. The last parade that I saw, there was a lot of dance groups that we have in Beaufort. So this should be something that should be greatly appreciated in our county. So I just want to applaud that and thank you for bringing it out, because analyzing and going back and looking, it shows that this is a need in this county. Just want to operate on this side of on this side of the broad. So that out. So
Thank you, Mr. Smith. All right, we're down to future topics. The team has been here since 7 o'clock this morning.
So what we will be bringing it forward, and I do want to take it to senior staff first, and I want to say thank you to the board and last year taking time to approve 2 years of calendars. but we would like to bring forward some academic calendars, keeping on that momentum. So we're working on that already. So for our next academic committee, I may be able to have it. I will confirm with Mrs. Cushenberry, because we do want to go through process of principals, community, SICs, teacher forum, but I'm trying to target either the end of March or the end of April. We're being a little ambitious, our team,
can do it.
but we think we may be able to bring it at the end of this month. If not, then I will communicate that we will move it to April. I just want to go through one more layer with senior staff to get to pace out a little more. It'll go to senior staff on Monday.
Thank you, and I appreciated the update on the safety part. Students and assessment, and so I would like to see if we can, where we are about safety within our schools. Not giving away what we're doing, but that's top secret, but just so that, you know, the public and we know that this is ever going all day, all day. And our students' safety and our teachers and staff safety is first for us. So, like I said, 15. We have to be doing.
And I do have two more items that we'll be bringing forward, as possibly our math textbook adoption, Madam Chair. As well, I'm organizing a presentation from artificial intelligence from Ms. Beckenbarsky, our Director for Educational Technology, and how that relates to career technical education. The team is working on that. So that is a definite that will be up for the end of March as well.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes.
I have a question. I saw,
Have Kate Pence, go ahead.
I have, in terms of, I was asked a question yesterday about books. How many actually solid books are we giving out, or are we passing out books to students, in terms of like US history, English? So I would kind of like an update or a clear understanding of, I know you talking about, bringing us some books to approval or
The textbook adoption.
textbook adoption. So maybe if you could also, if possible, Madam Chair, just like to get an understanding of, do we still actually have physical books in classrooms? And if so, what are those core subjects that we actually have those books in between high school and elementary? So we can just I can get a clear understanding of that as well as that's possible. Probably that is possible. It is something we do, but just a clear understanding of it would be a big help to me as from where I stand.
Anything else? All right.
Our next meeting is scheduled for the 25th of March. Is that fine? It's Tuesday, March 25th.
Is the time still at 5 p.m.?
Ms. Frazier? Is
I
25th
am.
good for you?
I am available earlier than 5 p.m. nowadays. So if you want to change the time, that's fine with me.
Up to the team. I know you.
Dr. Carr is the other member on here as well. He's not here today.
I can do early as well. Whatever you guys want to do, just
I want to move it to 4.
Whatever's good for the chair, ma'am.
finish with my soapbox. So what time do you finish up around?
I'm still stuck on soap operas and pole dancing, so don't mind me right now. Whatever's good for you.
All right,
Thank you.
Ms. Frazier, is 4:30 good for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so, ladies, you want to say 4 o'clock?
Yes, ma'am.
Get out of here. So we get you. Thank you. Mr. Robbins,
That's it.
4 p.m. Right, great meeting as always.
Thank you.
And thank you all for everyone.
Adjourn with unanimous consent.
Adjourn with unanimous consent, say aye. Aye.
That's.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.